Hey YouTube, Paul here with Patek. In this video, we are going to take a look at an alternative to a FOBA tripod. And FOBA, if you're not familiar with it, is probably the most expensive camera stand slash tripod you've ever seen. And I see a lot of guys on YouTube building their own now. So I'm going to show you my alternative option to such a stand. So if you're tired of, undoing tripod legs and doing up tripod legs and doing all kinds of adjustments, I think what I'm going to show you is a cost-effective alternative. So let's have a look. So we're going to take a look at using a Century stand as a tripod alternative to one of these fancy FOBA stands or any other option that you might want to consider. So let's just shove this out of the way for the second. This is a traditional Century stand, and this one has wheels on it. I've got some homemade wheels. I made a plywood T-cross, and it elevates the stand about 2 inches. But the reason the traditional Century stand is no good for a tripod is simply because it's too high. Like even at this point here, by the time you get a ball head on or whatever tripod you're going to use, the camera's going to be way up here. Shooting women headshots, that's fine, but for kids and other stuff, you got to be able to get down lower. You have to have some adjustability. So that's why the traditional Century stand is out. It doesn't give you the adjustability that you need. Okay. Enter in what B&H Photo, their house brand is Impact, and they call this type of a stand a Lowboy roller stand. And it's a type of C stand that has wheels on it. It has 2 or 3 adjustments on it, and I'm going to show you why I went to this to get away from tripods and opening and closing the cleats on my Manfrotto tripod, or undoing the adjusters on the other types of tripods that I have. For in the studio and being able to use a tether arm, this particular type of tripod, not tripod, but Lowboy roller stand is absolutely okay. And if you're paying attention, I'm going to give you a couple other bonus tips for how to navigate in a small studio and get great work done. So let's take a look. So welcome to my incredibly small headshot studio. It's in the basement of my house, and we moved into this house in 2020, renovated the whole basement, and I told the little woman how much space I needed, and this is what was left over, and this is what I got. So it's 9 feet by 13 feet to the door, and then my office is on the other side, which gives me another 11 feet. So if I'm shooting, if I want to use a 70 to 180 millimeter or 70 to 200 lens, I can go to the back wall and do it through the door, and it works out just fine. So I'm going to show you, in addition to why I use this thing as my tripod now, I'm going to show you some other tips and tricks you can use for a small studio space. So let's get to it. So this is a Lowboy roller stand. And not all roller stands are alike, okay? If you're going to use one for a tripod like I'm doing, the stand that you want to get, and I'll put a link in the description to anything that I show you in this video. And by the way, I paid for everything. This is not a sponsored video. So this stand I bought off of eBay. It's made by GTX Grip Equipment in Simi Valley, California, but they sell on eBay. And so anyways, I'll put a link so you can get access to it if you want. So basically, a Lowboy roller stand has a set of wheels on it. And for those of you that are already asking what the length of these legs are, you're looking at 19.5 inches. So that's the first thing to consider depending on the size of your studio. Now, when I'm using this, I typically have it configured like this. So I have one arm or one leg straight across in front of me, and then I simply have this turned like this, and that's how I typically work, right exactly where my Sony a7 III is sitting right there now. Okay, so why do you want this particular stand over the other version? This particular Lowboy stand has a spigot on the bottom with a 5/8 baby pin extension adapter. It has 1, 2 adjustment points and another spigot on the top with a 5/8 baby pin adapter. And so by having these 2 adjustment points, it gives you a lot more versatility. You can drop down lower to the ground. You can even take this whole thing out, put in a junior pin, and have your camera sitting right on the ground if you want to. But for shooting kids, this gives you maximum versatility, or you know, small people, or you know, whatever the case might be. But this gives you maximum adjustability, and that's why I use it. So first thing is, let's take this thing out. Maybe what I'll do is show you how easy it is to adjust this thing, and then hopefully it doesn't fall over and crack me on the head. But there's just 2 pins here that are spring loaded. This comes up like so. All 3 legs fold up. So if you want to pack it away, it's easy to do. Lift this up, comes back down, snaps into place, you know, easy peasy. It's easy to turn. I can lift this off. And even with the camera on it, it doesn't weigh a ton. So I just put this down over here. Okay. So with this spigot here, you can loosen this, tighten this up like so. So if you've got some big heavy Fresnel lighter you want to mount it on here, you can do that. I typically use this in this configuration. I have the pin stuck out like this. If I want to put a speed light on the bottom or a mic, whatever, you name it, you can pop it on here. You can also put a junior pin in here, tighten it up, and you've got a heavy, heavy duty platform. I could even take the main post from this Century stand and pop it into here, because it's all 1 1/8 inch pins. It's all based on 1 1/8 inch and 5/8 baby pin. So that's important. So, and you'll notice too, I'll show you, there's some loops here that you can use for different things as well. And all the wheels have locks on them, so you can lock it in place. Another benefit. And 135 bucks US off eBay through GTX. I think it was Sunset Photo was the company that I purchased it from. So now if we pop this back on here, I'll turn this around more towards the way it would normally sit. Like so. Loosen this one. And that's about as high as I can go in this configuration, but I'll put it on the floor and show you that in a second. But I just want to show you, you do have the adjustability. Okay, so I just want to smack my camera on the ceiling there. So let's bring this back down. Okay, so here's the loops for attaching. If you want to support your cables that are going in and out of your camera, you've got a loop here, you've got another loop down here, and you got 2 big handles here, and they're nice and easy to turn. This thing's lightweight, it's great. Absolutely love it. Okay, on the top, you also have an adjustable spigot pin. That's this one here, another baby pin, and the baby pin has a flat side on it, so that whatever you mount on there is not going to twist and turn out of shape. On the top of this guy, some of you, oh, that's not crooked, it was just sitting up on the one lock pin there. Some of you guys might be thinking, oh, tether tools, that's what this is. I believe I bought this tether arm from a company called Strobe Pro in Calgary, and I'll give you the link as well. And I think it was half the price of Tether Tools tether arm. So that was a big factor for me, because, you know, I'm paying US money, it's 30% on top of that, so Canadians are really cost conscious. So yeah, anyways, the tether arm, and so I think it is the Kupo version tether arm. And Kupo make great stuff, a big grip equipment company, and been around for a long time. So basically, if you're buying grip equipment, you've got Matthews, Kupo, B&H's Impact brand, and then that's about it. Those are the 3 main players. This GFX company is fairly new. I never heard of them until I purchased this stand. So, but anyways, the tether arm was roughly 100 bucks, and it gives you the 2 pads, one here, one here. Let's turn this like this so you can see it. You can mount your, in my case, I use my Manfrotto ball head here. And, you know, obviously the nice thing about this is that you loosen this, and you've got a great way to shoot overhead. You can extend the arm out this way, you can extend it that way. You've got lots of adjustment here. You can move the arms back and forth. And from the factory, on the top of this pad, you'll have a 3/8 16. On the top of this one, you'll have a 1/4 20. On the top of this one here, there's a rubber cap. And this has a 1/4 20, and under the rubber cap it has a 3/8 16. And on the other end here, I think it's 3/8 16. Yep, 3/8 16. So you've got lots of adjustment. And if you're doing something really funky and you want to take another one of these tether arms and mount it on the side here, and I'm not sure why you would do that, but you have that option for sure. So there's a lot of versatility in what you can do with this setup. All right, so here's a typical example of how I might use this setup on a day-to-day basis. And the only differentiator, I think I mentioned earlier that there's locks on the bottom of these feet here, so I can move this around as I need to. I typically don't have my monitor. If I'm using my A7 III, I tether to an actual 1080p monitor that I've got sitting on a stand over here. But this is definitely an option, and this is just for demonstration only. But I mean, the sky's the limit with this thing. So the first thing I want to show you is we're going to drop it down with the first adjustment. Okay, second adjustment. Now, there's probably only maybe 2 to 3 pounds of weight on here when you're moving it up and down, so I don't really need a balanced system for that. And then the last option would be to take this post out if you wanted to get your camera right down to the very bottom, but I almost never use that functionality. I'm always in this area here. And the thing I like about this setup is that you don't have to reef on these knobs. They're set up so just, you know, a snug fit is all you need. And you can have a setup like this. You can shoot overhead. You know, you've got adjustment this way. You can slide the arm across like this, back and forth, any way you want. So another example of what you can do, let me close this. I'll lock this leg down here. You've probably seen this kind of arm before. So if you're doing headshots and you want to get some light up under your subject, you can pop this onto one of the spigots, like so. And tighten it up. Okay, now you got light coming under the chin. I actually use this horizontally or landscape, and I have another mount over here that I've got a post here that I can use and do it that way. But so the versatility and the number of ways you can use this is just unbelievable. So I'll pop this off. Okay, so I had to kill the light here so I get a sunburn on the side of my face. But if you see this arm here, I don't know if you've seen these before, but these are absolutely amazing for working in a small studio like mine, because the more things that you can have up off of the ground, the more free space you have to actually maneuver, and that is like unbelievable. So if you want to mount a beauty dish, you've got this arm here that gives you a real wide range of motion. I can turn this like so. Make sure this thing is sitting in here properly. There we go. Can tighten this on like so, angle this down, and in very short order you've got a beauty dish that's on a 45-degree angle right in front of your subject, and you've got the flexibility to move it back and forth with whatever speed light, or in my case I use a Godox 8200 Pro, but that's one fantastic use for this piece of equipment for sure. Another tip that I can give you, if you're looking at this arm here, you're probably seeing two things. You see, oh, he's got the arm bolted to the wall, and oh, the ceiling is open. If you're gonna set up a studio, I would highly recommend that you look into rock wool safe and sound insulation. So rock wool is a type of insulation that has acoustic qualities, and you could put a propane torch on it and it's not going to ignite. So they call it safe because it's fire safe, and they call it sound because of its sound deadening qualities. And it's terrific for a small studio like this or in a basement environment. Okay, so we're just about ready to wrap this up. If you're observant and you look up top here, you'll see another one of those arms. I use that for hair lights, or if I want to throw some color in the backdrop or what have you. That comes in really handy for that. And so I hope you found this video helpful. This stand has certainly changed my life, and it's fairly inexpensive. Like I said, I'll put the links and everything in the description for you so you can get one of your own. And don't hesitate to connect in if you've got other questions. And please hit the subscribe and like buttons. That helps me. It's no cost to you. And watch out for this COVID stuff because it's not a joke. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one.